What is going on, Savages? Welcome back to Savage Wrestling Weekly. I'm your host, Gary Lee, and right next to me here is a co-host. Welcome back from the 4th of July holiday.
Yes, sir.
We've got Flyboy Aj. What's going on, man?
It's going, man. Having a good time. Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of the show.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm happy to have you right next to me here. So we can talk some stuff out. Now, first thing before we go into anything, I want to make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and hit that alert bell so that you can make sure you know when other Savage Wrestling Weeklies are coming up. We have the Meet and Bleed Festival coming on July 31st, which you know is going to be exciting.
It's going to be a great time.
There's going to be some great bands there, right?
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot of good music going on. I heard there's going to be some different types of vendors there. And also pro wrestling.
What's some of the bands that you heard are going to be there?
I know Metal Mafia will be playing. I'm pretty sure Cody Manson's on the bill. Kimura. Lots of cool guys.
I think Uncle TJ is going to be there. TJ. Yeah, Trill for Real. It's going to be a lot of guys on there. Ashby. I don't know if Bobby Cray is going to be on there, but he very well might be. It is going to be an awesome show. In addition to all of those artists, you have professional wrestling going on too.
Oh, that's going to be a great time.
Yeah, man. We got 2 shows going on there from 4 to 5:30, and then I believe 7 to 8:30. Wildfire Tommy Rich is going to be in. So that is going to be super awesome. So make sure that you guys are getting your tickets. You can hit me up, or you can hit up AJ. You can hit up the organizer, really, for all this. Shout out to Mike Windle. This is going to be an incredible event organized by Mike. You can hit any of the Metal Mafia guys up, any of the pro wrestlers from Power Slam Pro Wrestling. Make sure you get your tickets from them or one of the bands so that they can get paid out for you coming to see them. So make sure that you get those tickets. It's going to be awesome, July 31st. So we're going to change up a little bit of what this show was. There's a lot of talking head shows out there when it comes to pro wrestling. And really, I'm just another Mark with no experience in the wrestling industry. So, you know, do I need to be going out there and giving my opinions the way I do? Maybe. I enjoy doing it. But I want to do this in a different way. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to start the show off. And for this show, you guys let me know if you like it. You can go ahead and chat with us on Facebook or YouTube. And we're going to be playing some videos, some content from some other creators that have dropped this week. That's the only thing that those are the only circumstances that we do it, right? It's got to be on YouTube. It's got to be dropped this week. So even if it's content covering stuff from 10, 15 years ago, we're still going to talk about it as long as it was dropped this week on YouTube. We'll be giving out full credit to all of the YouTube clips that we use here. So let's go. You ready for this?
So up first we got Is Jay Better Than Jimmy by... I'm having some technical problems here.
You're okay, man. Just do a regular left click.
Trying to.
There you go. There it is.
We have Is Jay Better Than Jimmy? So let's get into it.
All right, real quick before we get into it, who are we looking at here?
Oh, we are looking at Wrestling on Weed Clips.
Wrestling on Weed Clips. This is called Review?
Yep. Is Jay Better Than Jimmy?
All right, but what's it called there? I can't read it from here. You got to be the guy that says it. Review Joint. The bottom right underneath the guys.
Review Joint the Blunt Ratings. I'm sorry.
All right, there we go. So that's the name of the show. What's the name of the channel?
Wrestling on Weed Clips.
All right, let's go.
Come on. Go backstage, we see Jimmy Uso. See, this is what's really bothering me, and I guess I'll save my opinion for that for the end because Edge kind of addressed it. So he's all hype, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm gonna do this for the family. I'm gonna do this for the. I was like, young, if he says I ain't nobody's bitch one more time, because right now you sound like a bitch. But it's not as genuine. It's not as deep. It's not that it doesn't have the emotional attachment that it had with Jey Uso, because Jey Uso had to get his ass in that ring and go through hell, literally in Hell in a Cell.
Yes,
so it's just cheesy to me.
So they're talking Jimmy versus Jay, right?
Yes.
You know who they are, right?
Yeah, the Uso brothers.
Well, I know, but you know which one's which.
Yeah, they're like Jay has the shorter hair, I believe, and Jimmy.
Okay. So it's weird because I really liked what they were doing with Jey Uso, right? But like, I don't know, it just kind of feels like they're redoing what they did with Jay, but with Jimmy.
Yeah, that's honestly the kind of feeling I was getting from it. I really started to enjoy it because it seemed like we were getting to see a more aggressive side of Jay and just Jay, because we've seen them together for so long.
For sure.
They're very equal. You couldn't see a move that one did that the other didn't. So I really enjoyed that we started to get to see Jay kind of get into his own little solo aggression with Roman, and now that they're bringing Jimmy back in, it just kind of seems like, okay, they're going to be the the badass Uso brother tag teams.
Which is
again.
cool, but I also feel like now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they're just giving a lot of TV time right now to Jimmy, and Jay's kind of like disappeared a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's like, man, I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I think that Jay's better than Jimmy.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one.
And I've always felt that way. He's got this like killer instinct. He's got this like killer instinct in him. You know what I mean? That like
Very much so.
I just don't think Jimmy has. Jimmy's more of like a goofy, funny character, and Jay is more of I'm gonna kick your ass and take the title type of guy.
Yeah, and that's why I really liked Jay starting to run with Roman and get in with him, because Roman does that very well as well. So
Absolutely.
having them two together, being these two badass, the family, it was starting to get really good.
Yeah, right on. Let's go to the next one.
All right, the next one we have up is, if I could get it up here, WWE legend forgets who Shawn Michaels is. The legend is Virgil, by the way. And this comes from the WZA network. It looks like their show is called Insider's Edge.
All right, let's see it, bud.
They like the shirt.
Even though
Look,
he's pretty much a piece of shit,
a shirt on right
I
there.
love everything
What's
that's
that shirt
Virgil.
say?
What, my one here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a DX one. It's an old school.
Oh, DX, right?
Yeah, DX.
Who's that on that shirt right there? Is that
HBK.
Triple H?
No, HBK.
Oh, okay. That's Sting on that shirt. It was Marty Jannetty's partner.
All right,
What?
I got to pause for a second here.
What? Is that the first time ever that Shawn Michaels has been referred to as Marty Jannetty's partner?
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
man.
that I have never heard that before.
Yeah, man. I wonder how much Marty paid him for that. Brother.
It's mind baffling because you might find your average person who's not a wrestling fan, you'd understand them not really knowing who Shawn Michaels is.
Yeah.
But coming from someone who was in the business when Shawn Michaels was growing and growing and growing and was around for it, and
He
what?
was there for it. He was
You
there.
were literally there.
He was literally there. Like, I believe, he had just won the $1 million championship before that. I think he lost it at that point, too.
Yeah.
But it's not like he was, he was in the baby, I don't know. Virgil, you're an idiot. He's always an idiot. Oh, isn't that Marty Jannetty's partner? But that's funny, though, because I think, you talk about, Shawn was hated by a lot of guys backstage. Marty was loved. So to some of those guys, maybe that Shawn is Marty Jannetty's partner. But at this point, that's like, I don't even know what you would say. Isn't Ric Flair? Is that Greg Valentine's partner? Like, no one knows that shit. You know what I mean?
That is, wow, yeah, just mind baffling.
Yeah, man. All right, let's go on. What do we got next?
Next, we are going to be sticking with Shawn Michaels a little more, and we're going to be talking about him being afraid to speak to Undertaker the day after the Montreal Screwjob.
All right, what year were you born?
I was born in 1999.
All right, so you weren't even alive. You weren't alive for the Montreal Screwjob.
I was not.
Wow, this is it was like a life-changing for everybody involved, but even for wrestling fans, it changed everything. We've had, just go ahead and play it. There ain't nothing I'm going to say that hasn't been said before.
So, obviously, Montreal is something that you've talked about 100 million times. I've thought if I was going to ask you any question, it's got to be something
Why
you've
is the
not
camera
talked
on the
about
guy
before.
asking the questions? You got
So,
Shawn
Montreal
Michaels.
happens, you agree to do it, you agree to participate, but Vince McMahon tells you cannot anywhere publicly tell anybody that you knew about it. You had to pretend that, like Brett, you didn't know it was going to happen. The next day on TV, when you guys get there, Mick Foley said he went home. He didn't want to come back. What was it like for you the next day? Because it's still very raw, pardon the pun, but you get to TV and you've got to now completely keep up this lie to everybody, knowing that one day if you tell the truth, they might be pissed that you've lied to them for years, like good friends or whatever. What was it like the next day when you got to TV after Survivor Series?
Well, sure. Clearly, you're worried about going. But only just from I can. It's one of those things that I wonder what it's going to be like. What's the atmosphere, temperature going to be like? The only thing, but as far as what everybody thought, and hand to God, I didn't care. I asked about one dude, and when I went in, I said, "Where's Taker?" I said, "Where's Mark?" And they said he's in there with Vince. And I said, "All right." Because that was it. Because it's the same, and you have to understand. We've been there for a long time. We see, yada yada yada. It's two very different guys, different personalities. But by this time, even then, we knew that, that there were two, two sort of pillars within the WWE.
Has taken a
that were
long
gonna,
time to not really say
for the most
shit.
part,
Yeah, he is.
everything was sort of built around. And that's the only person I just need to know where he's at on this. You know what I mean? I just need to know where he's at, because if there's somebody you got to sit there and have a chat with, it's going to be him. We're going to have to, you know what I mean, for all of this to move forward, he and I are going to have to find a way to, you know what I mean, get simpatico on this. And clearly Vince knew the same thing, and that's why he was the first guy, he talked to the next day. And to this day, because it's one of those things that, so much has passed that we've never even discussed it. I've never asked him, like, what did he tell you in there? But he, I remember waiting on him, and he came out, he walked up to me, he goes, "We're cool." Off he went. I went, "All right." And then it was like, it was all, both barrels loaded. After that, it was whatever it is they wanted. We went full gear, and but yeah, I mean, and honestly, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but again, it wasn't. It wasn't fun by any stretch. I mean, that's one of the things that I think over the years that it even, Brett and I both, for us both to get sort of past our own sort of personal feelings about it, I think when we finally started putting ourselves in the other person's shoes, I think that's what helped you get it all over with. I honestly think, when Brett realized it, like, okay, what he heard me say enough times, like, hey, it's not like I was thrilled to be that dude. I mean, it isn't like I ever, when I was, 12 years old, 15 years old, I sat at home going,
you pause this for me.
I don't want to just be a pro wrestler.
So, like, it seems like, this, for years, he keeps saying, like, he didn't want to be this guy, right? But it's like you keep being that guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think a big point of it was when Sean actually came clean and stopped lying about it.
Oh, yeah.
When Sean said, hey, I absolutely knew what was going on, I was a part of it, when he started, taking responsibility for his portion of that, I think that's when things started to change for him. Not, I don't think the realization had really much to do on Brett's part.
Right. Yeah, I can very much agree with that, because it was always, I had no idea. And he held it for years and years and years.
And years.
I think once, like you said, once he finally started to open up is when he started kind of accept it a little more.
Yeah.
And kind of, as he was deemed as some, like, shitty guy.
Yeah, for sure.
For doing that. And I think might be what helped him get through that, is that he accepted it. He's like, yeah, I mean, this is what really happened.
Yeah, I actually did this shit.
Yep.
It just, it just sucks that there was never a match between those two again, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the whole situation, I mean, we were robbed of, Bret Hart going after Stone Cold when he was the champion, rematches between Bret and Shawn. We got robbed from The Rock and Bret, Bret and Kurt Angle, Bret and Chris Jericho, Bret and Chris Benoit. I mean, I know that he fought Benoit in WCW for that Owen match, but yeah. I mean, it wasn't, dude. It's not the same in those small rings, and it's a WCW ring. There's just something about, especially back then, there was something about having it in a WWF ring.
And like all the names that you just mentioned that Bret Hart could have faced could have all been potential WrestleMania matches.
Oh, for sure. Another one with The Undertaker. Especially when Undertaker becomes American Badass, and then there's, he's actually selling. I mean, not that he didn't sell in '97 SummerSlam, but then we got robbed of a lot of cool stuff. Because of that, for a situation that seemed pretty temporary, where like they were forking out a lot of money right afterwards. It just seemed like it didn't have to happen.
Yeah, very, very much so.
What do we got next?
Next up, we have Mike Chioda is talking about Brock Lesnar busting Randy Orton's head open for real. This comes from WSI Wrestling Shoot Interviews.
All right, let's go.
Thousands, tens of thousands probably. What are some of the most memorable or amusing botches that you remember?
The botches, I don't know. I can't really say like there's too many botches in my career to really like. I mean, there's been a few incidents where injuries have occurred and stuff like that, whether it was Daniel Bryan getting injured and they had to stop the match with Randy Orton, and he really didn't want that match stopped at all. He was pissed. He was quite pissed, mate. And but I got the call from the back. I botched a couple matches in my time. I know that. I know I did one with R-Truth and Shinsuke a couple years ago, and it was kind of actually Vince loved it, and I was like, oh my God. R-Truth tells me the wrong fucking finish, and he's like, you said you're only getting schoolboyed once, and he was like, oh, my bad, dog. I'm sorry, man. And he had the U.S. title or something, or the 24-hour title, U.S. title, I think. So it was kind of funny, but and I thought I was going to get a bunch of heat coming back, and Vince was like, no, actually, that was phenomenal. I loved it. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, great. But not too many botches in my career. I mean, when I was younger, like little things and stuff like that. But I can't really, remember messing up too many three counts or false finishes.
Do you remember any time when you were in the ring and the two guys going at it, whoever they may be, and they're on the floor, or let's say they're on the mat in a headlock, and you can just tell that there's a bit of animosity or tension between them, and then maybe a bit of a hard punch gets thrown and anything like that where it just looked like it was going to escalate?
Oh yeah, there was a ton of matches like that. I mean, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, I remember in that match.
Did you see that?
It was a pay-per-view in Brooklyn, and Brock kind of gashed him open, and I could tell there was some kind of something going on, but I didn't know if it was really Brock towards Randy, or it was just Brock listening to what the office wanted him to do when Randy had a little bit of heat at that time. And he gashed him open real bad.
Quick. Stop. Are we just glossing over the fact that Mike Chioda said that the office might have told Brock to do that to him?
I love how he just nonchalantly went over that. Like, oh, yeah, he
and then the interviewer is not like, wait, what?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean,
it's little shit like that these guys will say, and then they get pissed at like the marks for going, oh, was this a punishment from the office? Was this a punishment from the office? I go, no, that would never happen. And then you got this guy who's been a referee for WWE for 30 years going, it might have been some heat from the office why Brock did that to him.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, you summed it up pretty nicely right there.
All right, let's keep going.
You tell he was going for it because he was just elbow to forehead. And I was kind of shocked that they would do that because it was kind of like concussion protocol was still strong at that time. It was just quite a few years ago. And I mean, there was a lot of things like back in the day, it was called a receipt. When a wrestler would hit somebody real hard and
but you're getting a
not
receipt
take
from
care
the
of them or
office?
something like that, or knock their jaw out of whack.
What?
They'd come back right with a receipt right then and there. We're 5 minutes later and say, here you go. Here's our receipt for that punch. But it's a lot of stuff happens. Wrestling is very physical.
So you can stop this here. I don't think we're gonna get any more information out of Mr. Chioda.
I do not think we are going to either
about this, but there's proof positive right there. They say like the dirt sheets makes this shit up, and then you got him. I don't think he's trying to expose anything, but there it is.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
And he just kind of just like you said, how quickly it just kind of brushed over and just kind of oh yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Type
a little
deal.
heat. I don't know if you had a little heat with the office and the. Come on, bro. That's I mean, it's pro wrestling, man. It's in one way, I think in today's world that's kind of crazy, but it's still a little old school in some ways, I guess.
Yep, very much so.
Brock seems like an old school dude, and so does Randy. And seems like Randy might have gotten whatever message whoever was doing that.
Oh yeah, I think he definitely got that message.
But isn't that a felony though? To
Yeah, isn't that some type of assault?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's like hiring a hitman almost, but it's basically legal.
There's so many things that have happened in pro wrestling that are life sentences that just get brushed over. You know what I mean? I think it was Mr. Perfect hitting Shawn Michaels with a car or vice versa in 93. It was Shawn hitting Mr. Perfect with a car.
Or Stone Cold's house invasion on Pillman.
Yeah, brings a gun in there, dude. Stone Cold should be getting out of prison right now for that shit. He shouldn't have even had a run.
Yeah.
So I guess you got to suspend disbelief. That's what wrestling is. But when they're doing that shit in real life, that's kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just makes me like, I love watching wrestling and I love like what we do, but like I'm very happy that I'm not in a situation like that with Brock Lesnar.
Oh, very, very, very much same.
Like New Jack too. God bless his soul. When I met him, super nice guy, but like, woof. There's not an amount of money you could pay me. You could have paid me to like to do any to do any of this stuff with those guys. Man.
Oh yeah.
They'll hurt you.
Oh yeah.
They will hurt you for real. All right, what do we got next?
Next up, we have, you want to talk about people hurting people, we have the Ultimate Sandman Experience, and this comes from Colt Cabana.
Right on, and it's a new podcast he has. What's it called?
It says Wrestling Anonymous.
That's right. So Wrestling Anonymous is this really cool podcast where essentially he has a hotline, and fans just call and give their experiences to this hotline.
Well, let's hear about a Sandman experience.
All right, let's go.
It was ECW, WWE ECW 2006. Here in Wisconsin, we'd go to our local place where they'd do house shows for WWE, and we'd always go around back and try to meet the wrestlers. I was going to meet Sandman, and I was super fucking hyped because I was super into, that hardcore bullshit. So I go to meet him, and he's going to sign the shirt I bought, and I'm like 12. And he's got a cigarette in one hand and a beer can in the other. So he hands me the beer can while I hand him the shirt. And instead of just putting the cigarette in his mouth, he put it out on my hand, and I have the scar to this day.
The Sandman is slowly becoming the star of this podcast. Well, the Sandman and Virgil, bless both of your hearts. But I guess that's Sandman, true to heart. He doesn't give a fuck. He was finally signed by this multi-billion-dollar corporation. And I was there backstage doing enhancement work when Sandman was wrestling with WWE, and he would wear like slacks and a nice shirt. And that was always kind of the joke, is he'd be backstage reading the newspaper. That was real to life Sandman. The same Sandman that I had known before, who would come to shows and drink a handle of vodka before his match for IWC in Pittsburgh all the time. Now, all of a sudden, he was leaning into this new world, collecting a paycheck. I think he made friends with Vince McMahon, being on his best behavior. But there was that bit of him that always had that ECW rebellious spirit. And I think it was just...
So, that is an outrageous story.
Imagine being this kid. And first of all, praise this kid for walking up to the Sandman, because I don't know if I would have. Beer in one hand, cigarette in the other, and asked for a T-shirt sign, and he just puts a cigarette out on your hand. Like
is he doing it intentionally, or is he like not paying attention and thought he was putting... Did you lose me there?
For a second, you're
all right,
back.
yeah. So like, was he not doing? Did he like thought he was putting in the beer and instead he?
Wow.
There's so many more questions for that story, man. Once again, that's imagine nowadays that story coming out.
Oh, dude.
WWE wrestler.
There would be lawsuits everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, where were this kid's parents?
That's what I was about to say. Like,
a pro wrestler puts a cigarette out on your kid's arm and nothing.
Like, I want to know if he was like walking around like hiding his hands and stuff. Like, oh, I don't want mom to know the wrestler burnt me.
Oh,
it was so
no
cool.
kidding, man. Yeah.
Like,
that is crazy, man. So thank you, Colt Cabana. You guys, make sure you check out Colt Cabana YouTube channel. His podcast is also on Apple. I don't know, all the other platforms that you get podcasts. That's where you can get it. It's called, what is it called? Wrestling Confidential?
It is called Wrestling Anonymous.
Wrestling Anonymous. It's a super awesome show. Make sure you guys check it out. How many videos we got left here, bud?
We have, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more.
Oh, wow. We got a lot going. Let's go.
All right, next one we have it is called Week 19 MVP Rolling into Memphis. This comes from Championship Wrestling from Memphis.
All right, so the reason why this is on here, I haven't really seen the whole thing. We're not going to watch this whole clip. But I want like, a lot of the people that watch us are big fans of Power Slam Pro Wrestling. And it's just like, I want them to see how lucky they are for Power Slam Pro Wrestling. All right, give this a look.
All right, let's go.
MVP, your MVP for the day.
My MVP, the Crowleys. Got to give it to them, though. I love their in-ring work. I love it's the little things.
Stop.
Are they in a mini?
I don't even care what they are in an indie promotion. right? Making probably $15 for that, and they're doing, was that a double Spanish fly?
Spanish fly,
Double
yeah.
Spanish fly off the top rope. Like,
is that even worth it?
That's what I'm saying. Someone's got to get to these guys, man.
Like
learn how to wrestle before you're doing that shit. And now I know that like I'm talking shit. I know I've never been a wrestler. You kick my ass, all that other shit the wrestlers say. Bro, come on, man. You're gonna end. I bet you stuff like that ends more careers than you can imagine.
Oh, very much so. Like I bet you a lot of these guys in the indies that are doing this really crazy stuff, like their career's over before they had one.
Like your knee should not be blown out before you get to the big time.
Yeah.
You should not be doing that yourself for $20 a night.
I can very much agree with that. You can produce good matches without having to be risky.
Yeah, that shit
Leave
is
that
crazy.
to like people that have been doing it forever and not someone who's been training for a year, you know?
Yeah, now let's go. Let's see. Does he kick out of this?
All right, let's see if he kicks.
If you're paying attention to those little things,
Like
you would
3
notice that the Crowleys pay attention.
Looked like a 3 count.
Looked like a 3. At least it was a 3 count. All right, can you turn down the volume just a little bit?
Turn down the volume just a little bit. Yes, I can.
Right, just like in the YouTube settings.
Yep,
there.
that's what I'm doing.
All right.
Keep going.
Let's go.
To those little things, their attention to detail while working in those ropes, absolutely second to none. Crowley's my MVP.
100% agree with you. My MVP of the Crowleys this week. They had one of the best single matches we've had one of the best tag team matches now we've had. They've been entertaining as hell. I love the. I didn't think I was going to like them.
This is exactly the shit that I'm talking about.
Look, onto a concrete floor with no padding.
With no padding. A concrete floor with no padding.
And you're doing, top rope swantons.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. I don't even want to watch this anymore. But I just want you to know how lucky you are with Power Slam Pro Wrestling because the wrestling is actually believable instead of this bullshit. What's the next
Let's
video
get out of here. We have Alex Wright shoots on his WCW debut.
Do you know Alex Wright? Das Wunderkind?
I do not know about Alex Wright.
All right, so Alex Wright was he was Das Wunderkind, WCW in like '94. Thought that he was going to be like the next high flying babyface.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was like he was tall and he could fly, but those wrestling rings in WCW are so small, so you're not really getting the perspective of like this tall high flyer.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like it looks too effortless for this guy in WCW, which I think was a big one of the problems. If he'd been in WWF with a 20-foot ring and the ropes a little larger, I think he might have had a different fate. But people just hate it. He was Die Rocky Die before Die Rocky Die.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Das Wunderkind.
Your big debut was at Starrcade '94. Actually, you wrestled Triple H, I believe, Jean-Paul Levesque at the time. What was it like going into your first match? You had some warm-up matches on TV before that, but going into the big Starrcade, that was Hulk Hogan had just come aboard. Just talk about what it was like in '94 going into that big Starrcade.
Well, at the time I was like just 18 or 19 years old, and it's a lot of pressure because first of all, I don't want to let my father down. I want to bring 180% for my fans, or at that moment for the WCW fans. I want to prove myself in front of the promoter and also in front of my colleague. And I knew there's millions watching this pay-per-view, and especially us two new guys, Paul and me, and there was a lot of pressure, and I was very, very nervous. But, after I went through the curtain, then I wasn't nervous at that moment anymore. It just was fun then.
All right, well, that was a bunch of nothing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
All I heard was a really bad phone call and...
Yeah, for sure. Which kind of like summed up his career, poor guy.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, yeah. You should go back and watch some Das Wunderkind videos.
Yeah?
See a lot of his dancing.
I'll be sure to do so.
It's going to be great.
All right, up next, we have Disco Inferno on Kevin Nash burying Brian Clark, and I do not seem to... Oh, this comes from Keeping It 100 Official.
Let me ask you a question. So where you're pulling the YouTube videos, is that browser maximized?
Looks like it.
All right, let's go.
Next is from Patrick Parkinson. The subject is Wrath in WCW. Hi, folks. In WCW in late '98, Wrath went on a winning streak, beating everyone, actually getting over. However, all ended in December 98 when, surprise, Kevin Nash beat him with a powerbomb. Nash even did a jockey gesture after winning, wiping his brow and looking relieved. Was there any heat on Nash for doing this? He had just become Booker at the time. Wrath's push ended that night. Also, do you think winning streaks are overrated, getting talent over? If you can take only so far, but sure, if you don't have a great opportunity, personality, or storylines, then it won't matter you at top. Thanks for all the content, Patty from Manchester, England.
It was working.
Was there any heat for Nash?
It was working for Wrath. Remember that meltdown? Whoosh, like, people loved that move. That would always get a huge pop. And yet, it did seem like, as an internet fan at the time, that Kev was just taking this guy who was on his way up. But then again, he was about to wrestle Goldberg. Of course, he had to win the match. You know, he beat another undefeated guy before he's going to fight the next undefeated guy. I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, deal.
So I don't know if I remember when that happened. I don't know that it necessarily made sense.
Yeah.
Like you had to have been at some point planning this undefeated streak with Wrath just to give it to Nash so that you could foreshadow what's going to be going on with Goldberg, right? But like, why would you do that though? Now you've wasted that character.
Yep.
You've wasted that run.
Just put it in the ground. Like,
yeah.
Just start digging. Like, that's all you can really do. Like, it doesn't seem like it made very much sense at all.
Like, I understand the reasons why Kevin Nash said he did things, and dude, I've never had a book in a, you know what I mean? I'm not in the wrestling business, you know. But as a fan, it just seems like, man, you made some mistakes. You know, we'll leave it at that. Let's go to the next one.
All right. Next up, we have.
And who was that from, by the way? Go back.
The last one was from Keeping It 100 Official.
All right, Conan.
Up next, we have former WCW star Kiwi on That Goldberg Spear.
All
and
right.
this is also from WZWA Network Insider's Edge.
All right, this is going to be awesome. I think I know which spear he's talking about.
Oh.
Another question I had was, obviously, an infamous moment in Nitro history is that spear Goldberg gave you on the November 20th edition of Nitro.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that spear?
Fuck, it's the best one he ever hit.
Yeah, the best
Dude,
Goldberg.
I'm with you on that one. So I get to read and everybody's like, "Oh man, you're wrestling Goldberg." Bill as a person was really cool, but I don't know. You've probably heard this before. He's kind of hard to work with. You know, I knew I had to do a job for him before I even talked to him. I mean, shit, if they were going to have me win that match, I'd have shit my pants. But, and I said, "Look, Bill," I said, "I don't know what you plan on doing, but I said, I got an idea, man. I think this is going to be good. I'm going to start just kicking you and punching you." He goes, "I ain't selling that shit." I was like, "Yeah, no shit, you're not selling it." And I said, "I'm going to go to springboard off the ropes and jump on you, and you fucking come flying and you spear me midair." He's like, "God dang." He goes, "I'm going to fucking kill you." I said, "I know."
All right, dude, that was... wait, go back. Stop. I guess you don't have to go back. He says, "I'm going to fucking kill you."
I mean,
at least he knew, right?
It looked like he turned that man inside out when he hit him.
Oh my God, I would never. That's another one of those things
I
I would
was just
never take.
I just wanted to ask.
You doing all right there?
Yep.
All right. All right, so we're gonna make that the last one. We're gonna wrap it up here. I want you guys to make sure that you're checking out Power Slam Pro Wrestling YouTube. Also, make sure that you're liking and subscribing here on Savage MMG Presents, so that you can get new Savage Wrestling Weekly plus all the other new content that we put up. Savage Wrestling Weekly is every Sunday at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much to Flyboy Aj.
Thank you very much for having me, Gary.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all of the Savage family. Shout out to everybody that's putting together the Savage Meet and Bleed July 31st.
Bunch of hard work being put in from all these guys.
Such hard
all
work.
around the board.
So just shout out to everybody involved. Make sure that you're getting your tickets. It is July 31st. They're $20 from 2 to midnight. Get you like so many bands. All the best music in Northeast Ohio is coming to you at the Meet and Bleed plus the best pro wrestling. So you can't beat it. Wildfire Tommy Rich is going to be there, the youngest NWA champion. And it's going to be a great time, man.
We are out.
Yeah. We'll see you next week, guys. Like and subscribe. Get your tickets.
See you, fellas.
Bye.